What is going on, everybody? Sports Expert here, and we are here with an interesting video, our annual MLB free agency predictions for 2023. And before we get started, we'll be doing MLB offseason videos every day. We're gonna have tons of rumors, tons of reports and everything gathered up for all teams, and we're gonna be doing lots of news videos every day, so make sure to be subscribe for those. Turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss those. Hit the like button. Comment what you think. Those help us in the algorithm. Would appreciate that, guys. Helps us. Helps the community. So that would be awesome, as it's going to be a fun off season on this channel. So let's get started with the free agency predictions. And my first one is Dansby Swanson, obviously shortstop for the Braves. I have him signing a 6-year, $140 million deal with the San Francisco Giants. Giants are going to go all in this offseason, I think. And I think Dansby Swanson would be a solid start. Brandon Crawford's aging, and the rest of the infield is just very weak. The farm system isn't ideal when it comes to infield prospects, so getting a guy like Dansby Swanson on the team would be huge for San Francisco as long as they're competing. And maybe would Farhan want to, go for a shortstop at this point? I think he'd be willing to, with Brandon Crawford aging, and they could easily put Swanson at second as right before Crawford's done. So, yeah. Trey Turner, I have him signing with the Baltimore Orioles on a 6-year, $200 million deal. I think he's going to get paid heavily, and he'll be one of the top players paid in this free agency class. And I have heard rumors that he prefers the East Coast. If true, then the Orioles will be a major contender to sign him. I feel like the Orioles could go all in. Maybe they wouldn't go all in if they had another rough season, but they had a solid season, went over 500. So out of nowhere, so the Orioles could definitely look at Trey Turner. Would be a great fit for this team, and definitely would be nice for this culture. Jacob deGrom, arguably the most notable free agent on here outside of Aaron Judge. I have him leaving the New York Mets. I'm going to have him signing a 3-year, $135 million deal with the Atlanta Braves. I think deGrom would love to stay in the Big Apple, but at the same time, I think the Mets and Alex Anthopoulos, it'll be a war between them to go out and get deGrom, but I think Anthopoulos pulls it off. He's going to get at least $40 million per year. I think the Braves will give him $45 million. I think they're going to say, hey, I know you have the injuries to deGrom, but you can't pass on an opportunity to get a superstar like you. If the Braves want to win another ring, a guy like deGrom would be perfect to bring in. Clayton Kershaw, I have him re-signing with the Dodgers on a 3-year, $75 million deal. Maybe his last contract. Who knows? But I think he does stay with the Dodgers. And, not too much about this one. I mean, obviously there's talk about him potentially going to the Rangers, but I don't see that. I think he'll be a Dodger the rest of his career. Jose Abreu, there's been rumors about him leaving the White Sox. I have him signing a deal with the Boston Red Sox, 3 years, $45 million. If you can have him and Tristan Cautious in there in that infield, that definitely could help. Maybe you even trade Cautious, but at the same time, I feel like maybe moving Cautious, I just don't think trading him would be ideal. I think the potential is just too high, so you have him and Cautious playing, him playing a different position and Abreu playing first base, so that's definitely a possibility there. Michael Brantley stays with the Astros on a 2-year, $26 million deal. Coming off injury, he'll definitely help Houston. And, what was not the greatest year for their outfield production offensively, but outside of Kyle Tucker, but they'll make it work. Craig Kimbrell will leave the Dodgers and sign a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Mets. Mets will try to shore up that bullpen and hope for resurgence from Kimbrell, who struggled. He was left off the NLDS roster. Edwin Diaz will sign the first $100 million deal for a closer, and it will be with the New York Mets. The Mets will keep Edwin Diaz, 6 years, $105 million. This has been the projected contract for some time. That very well may change, and it wouldn't be surprising if that changed, but I have Diaz signing for that amount right now. Easily the best closer in the game right now in the National League. The K rate was unbelievable. Edwin Diaz just had a monster season, 119 strikeouts and 62 innings pitched. I have Wilson Contreras signing a 4-year, $68 million deal, replacing Yadier Molina in St. Louis. I think Contreras can be that guy that the Cardinals go after heavily. Will John Mozeliak be that aggressive? Not too sure, but I think it's very possible. Ivan Herrera's in the minors, but he probably it probably isn't ideal to go with him over Contreras. I do like the potential with Herrera, but I think going with Contreras would be the safer option. Aaron Judge, I have him leaving the New York Yankees, yes, and I have him signing a monster deal, 5 years, $190 million with the San Francisco Giants. He's 30, going to be 31 next year, so I believe he might not get the biggest deal in the world. So give me 5 years, $190 million. San Francisco Giants back home. I feel like this is the most ideal contract for Judge and the most ideal landing spot outside of New York. And New York fans are going to be absolutely insufferable if Judge leaves. And I just have a weird feeling they're going to need to prepare for it. Carlos Rodon stays with the San Francisco Giants on a 3-year, $84 million deal. Rodon will seek way more money on his next deal. The Giants will pay him, lock him up. Just too good for them. One of the best pitchers in all of baseball when it came to peripherals. And the Giants just can't pass up on a guy like Rodon here. The lefty is just too good. Him and Kyle Harrison at the top of that rotation for the future. That could be deadly. Nathan Eovaldi, I have him leaving the Boston Red Sox and signing a 3-year, $48 million deal with the Minnesota Twins. He'll join a rotation of Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, Kenta Maeda if healthy, Bailey Ober if he's indeed in the rotation. And we do not know the status of Chris Paddock, but there could be a lot of options in that Twins rotation. So Eovaldi, I have him going to Minnesota. I just think that would be an interesting fit. Eovaldi just seems like a guy Minnesota would sign. Not the flashiest guy in the world, but a guy that definitely can get some innings in. Aroldis Chapman leaves the New York Yankees by no one's surprise and signs a 1-year, $6 million deal with the Rangers. I know there's been issues with Chapman and his worth ethic, but I think he still gets a few million this offseason, and the Rangers would definitely be willing to pay that price as they're going to be looking for bullpen help. They're going to be looking for any type of pitching, whether it's bullpen, starting pitching, and Chapman starts off there. JD Martinez stays with the Boston Red Sox and keeps his commitment of that franchise. 2 years, $30 million. I think Martinez I just think it's too good to be true for him to go somewhere else. I just feel like the Red Sox have a special place in his heart. Justin Verlander, same with him for what I said about JD. 2 years, $80 million. He stays with the Astros, looking like the likely Cy Young, approaching 40 years old. Unbelievable season he's had. Anthony Rizzo stays with the New York Yankees on a 3-year, $60 million deal. Hit 32 home runs this past season. He can definitely be a beast in the playoffs, and that should be a main reason why he gets $20 million per year. Kenley Jansen leaves the Atlanta Braves and signs with the Houston Astros on a 2-year, $25 million deal, joining that elite bullpen. A closer with major playoff experience for a team that wants to win as many titles as possible. With all that talent they have, this would be a perfect fit. Carlos Carrasco stays with the New York Mets on a 2-year, $23 million deal. A guy that's well-loved in all of Major League Baseball and well-loved in the Big Apple. I think Steve Cohen will do enough to keep him around, and he should be a solid innings eater for New York. Josh Bell leaves the San Diego Padres and signs a 3-year, $54 million deal with the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners shore up that infield, get another first baseman, Josh Bell, as he could also potentially DH here and there. You'll have him and Ty France. You'll have Eugenio Suarez, guys that can, fill needs. So a team that was trying guys like Justin Upton out the designated hitter spot, where you'll have another option here in Bell. Carlos Santana signs a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Cleveland Guardians. I think the Guardians can definitely, fish bigger here. Maybe they go for a trade, maybe a Christian Walker type guy, but Carlos Santana back in Cleveland would make a lot of sense. 1 year, $8 million, had a solid year of production when it came to power. Didn't hit for the greatest average, but wouldn't be too stunning if he went back to Cleveland, of course. Carlos Correa, he opted out with his deal with the Twins. He's going to sign a 6-year, $210 million deal with the Chicago Cubs. Jed Hoyer and company will get it done here. They'll make their marquee signing. Correa goes to the Cubs. He'll join Marcus Stroman as two big Cubs signings by Jed Hoyer, and the Cubs will try to compete this season. Noah Syndergaard signs a 2-year, $30 million deal with the Rangers. type of deal the Rangers may do. Syndergaard definitely has some injury risk, but I feel like Chris Young, if he really wants to compete and win now, and if he's going to hire a guy like Bruce Bochy, he could go for veterans, and Noah Syndergaard fits that needle. Brandon Belt stays with the New York Giants. Just feels just kind of weird to see him leave. 1 year, $8 million. Just don't think he'll take a lot. Joey Gallo goes back to the Rangers and signs a 3-year, $33 million deal. Joey Gallo 2 years ago was probably looking for more money on an extension, but now that's passed. I think the Rangers could definitely afford him now. Fan favorite over there. I think he's a guy they would really show interest in. Honestly, didn't do too bad for the Dodgers. Will Meyer signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Rays. Former Ray, I think he goes back there. A team that'll look for some outfield depth in Myers, who has power, will definitely be an interesting fit. Will Smith, the reliever, will sign a 1-year, $5 million deal with Arizona. I think Brett Strom will see something with Will Smith and try to fix him as part of that bullpen as the Diamondbacks try to potentially compete for a wild card spot. So could Smith be a good fit there? Remains to be seen, but could definitely be with the right mechanics. Miguel Sano signs a 1-year, $4 million deal with the Nationals. There's been rumors they may try Carter Kieboom again, but maybe they go out and get a Miguel Sano here, a guy that has power, that's been proven. Maybe they can fix him a bit with strikeout numbers. The Nationals take a low risk here. Kyle Gibson signs a 2-year, $18 million deal to stay with the Phillies. The Phillies keep their rotation intact. Gibson didn't have the greatest year, but his track record shows solid starter overall, so the Phillies take advantage of that. Adam Duvall signs a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Detroit Tigers. With injuries and concerns and struggles of other guys in the Tigers outfield, you have Austin Meadows, but is he going to be healthy? We don't know. He suffered many injuries. He has an Achilles problem. You'll have Riley Green out there. If you can have an outfield of Riley Green, Adam Duvall, Austin Meadows are one of those guys just DHs, then the Tigers could have something there, especially with more pop. Gary Sanchez stays with the Twins as there's lack of interest on a 2-year, $19 million deal. Not sure where the interest will lie with Sanchez, but Minnesota will lock him up, and maybe they believe his power is there. We'll see. Chris Bassett signs a 3-year, $60 million deal, $20 million per year to stay with the Mets. With the loss of DeGrom, they have to keep some guys intact, and Chris Bassett will be a guy they look forward to keeping, a guy that really pitched well for them down the stretch. Don't really see the Mets holding back here. Andrew McCutchen goes back to the Brewers and signs a 1-year, $5 million deal. I just don't know where Andrew McCutchen will go in this free agency class. Just don't know where the interest will be. But I think a team like Milwaukee, who he's played for just this past season, will look at him and maybe think he's a nice leader in that clubhouse and definitely can be resigned. Sean Manaea will sign a 2-year, $24 million deal with the St. Louis Cardinals. Left-handed pitcher, that would be a nice fit for the Cardinals if Jose Quintana does leave. It didn't have the greatest year with the Padres, but definitely can bounce back. Cardinals, who are known for, solid pitching, can definitely develop him back into a solid starter. Tyler Anderson signs a 3-year, $40 million deal to go back to the Dodgers. Anderson, who had a career year, won't get the biggest contract in the world due to age, but the Dodgers take advantage of that. Adam Frazier signs a 2-year, $18 million deal with the Houston Astros. He becomes a Mauricio Dubon replacement who may get DFA'd this offseason. So the Astros go out and get him, solid contact hitter, and a guy that can definitely help the lineup. Trey Mancini signs a 3-year, $54 million deal with the Chicago White Sox as he replaces Jose Abreu. A solid Abreu replacement as the White Sox look a different direction. They'll be willing to spend on the payroll to get a first baseman, and Mancini would be a great fit, a great clubhouse leader, especially with a potential new manager coming in. Definitely could change the culture in Chicago. Mitch Haniger will sign a 2-year, $27 million deal to be the Marlins center fielder for a couple of seasons. Haniger, a guy that has a ton of power and a very good hit tool, but just can't stay healthy. The Marlins take advantage here. They miss out on guys like Nimmo and Benintendi, but go out and get Haniger on a cheaper 2-year deal. Davis Paxton signs a 1-year, $6 million deal to stay with the Red Sox. Very low risk. Been injured, but the Red Sox give him a shot. Corey Knebel will sign a 2-year, $12 million deal with the St. Louis Cardinals. $6 million per year. Knebel, it's like, didn't have the greatest year, but will definitely have a lot of interest on the market still. I think the Cardinals need a bullpen arm, and I think this could be a solid fit. Mike Minor will consider retirement and he will retire. Adam Wainwright will consider retirement as well, and he'll retire. You know, there's a lot of talk about Wainwright potentially coming back for one more season, but I just feel like it's just kind of where he just calls it a career. You know, retires with the Audi and Pujols. Kevin Kiermaier will sign a 1-year, $6 million deal to be the center fielder for the Astros. If the Astros trade for somebody, maybe they sign Kiermaier still to be a potential bench guy. I mean, he has solid defense still. He said he can hit for pop. You know, Kiermaier, not a terrible player. I think the Astros have an interest in the past. Andrew Benintendi will leave the Yankees and sign a 3-year, $51 million deal with their Subway Series rival, the New York Mets. He'll go to the Mets and sign for $17 million per year. He'll be the Brandon Nimmo replacement. And Brandon Nimmo will sign a 5-year, $75 million deal to go to the Yankees. So those switch teams. Crazy switch, but I have a feeling this could be something that could stir up the MLB. You know, Nimmo takes less money per year than Benintendi, but wants more years, and the Mets kind of fade away from that, so they go out and get the all-star in Benintendi. Corey Kluber will sign a 1-year, $8 million deal with the Seattle Mariners. You know, the Mariners could look for a back-end veteran starter, and Kluber definitely fits the needle with playoff experience. Taylor Rogers goes back to the Twins and signs a 2-year, $17 million deal, so they recoup that last piece in the trade. So they'll have Pagan, Paddock, and Rogers. Twins get him back. Rogers didn't pitch too great outside of Minnesota, so Minnesota will try to take advantage of that and keep him. Taijuan Walker signs a 2-year, $26 million deal to go to the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox get a starting pitcher, which is much needed due to potential injuries and the potential exit of Nathan Eovaldi. Walker, a guy that definitely could eat innings and be a solid starter. The Red Sox would definitely love to have that. Could be a fan favorite there, too. Jurickson Profar stays with the Padres on a 2-year, $18 million deal. Can be a bench guy, can be a starter. He can play over the field, and I think that's what will increase his value. Mike Clevinger will sign with the Baltimore Orioles on a 3-year, $45 million deal. He'll leave the San Diego Padres. Clevinger, you know, $15 million per year, not too bad. A guy that definitely didn't pitch his greatest, but still coming off Tommy John. He showed a lot of flashes this year still. So if I'm Baltimore, I'm definitely going out and getting a guy like Clevinger that can definitely shore up that rotation, along with Trey Turner, a team that could be ready to spend some money. Jock Peterson will sign a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Kansas City Royals. The Royals will find an outfielder, a guy that can hit for pop, and with their new regime. And the Royals will try to win some games this season. A guy that made the All-Star team of the National League definitely would be interesting. Again, due to the the excess of righties in the American League Central, this could be huge. And final prediction of this video, there will probably be a part 2 coming out later on, but this is just part 1 right now. Jameson Taillon will sign a 3-year, $33 million deal with the New York Yankees. He will re-sign. So, you know, Taillon had a tough performance out of the bullpen today versus Cleveland, but lucky for the Yankees, he won't come out of the bullpen. That was actually his first relief appearance of his career. He won't come out of the bullpen, and the Yankees will shore him up on a $11 million per year deal, stay as a back-end starter in that rotation. So that was part 1 of our free agency predictions. We'll probably have more on the way soon, so I appreciate everyone being here. Sports Expert here. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Turn on the post notification bell. Like the video. Comment what you think. I'm out, guys. Sports Expert here. Peace.